If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is October the 18th. Oh, wait, today's the 17th. Okay, October the 17th, 2023. And today the topic is God's sovereign will. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Yes, happy Tuesday. I hope that you all had a wonderful Monday. Mine was just fine. The main things that happened yesterday is hubby decided to make a couple of stews. So we got a beef stew and a curry beef stew. I tried both. They both was yummy. I kind of leaned towards the curry. I got a little extra of that one yesterday, but we're going to see what the Lord do today. But yeah, so that's one thing that happened yesterday. Of course, NJ took his class, and then outside of that, your girl was just, I guess, hustling from home in ways. I got, several inquiries about different stuff. Then I also was over here trying to brainstorm and see if I could create yet another endeavor. I know y'all might be sick of me, and y'all like, what you mean? Why do you even need another endeavor, Miracle? You got this and that and everything, and hey, you right. You right. Sometimes it feels like maybe I don't need another endeavor. But then sometimes it does seem like I might need to do something a little extra on these, like with a Monday and Tuesday and Friday that I'm pretty much fully available. I usually take that time to record GSL or, do whatever else to maintain stuff, whatever the case may be. But I guess it's just that a lot of my endeavors require a purchase, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I establish something that's either more passive or something that is a little bit more, like, residual or frequent or whatever the case may be. So on one hand, I feel the need, but on the other hand, I don't. Like, I feel, I'm trusting the Lord, and obviously He's the provider, X, Y, and Z. But I was brainstorming some ideas at least yesterday, and but we'll see what the Lord do. We'll see. But so that was something that going on yesterday. At some point, I finally took a break from all of that and tried to catch up on rest and whatnot, and then that's pretty much Monday in a nutshell. I don't think there was too much else on top of that. Let's get into this conversation of why we're talking about God's sovereign will this morning. Well, this morning, I think I woke up to my first alarm, but I ain't gonna lie, I ended up going back to sleep multiple times. I would get up, I would think about some things, and I was like, Lord, let me just clear my mind and see what you want me to think about and what you want me to talk about and stuff like that. And I just kept doing that as I continued to think, and I guess let the Lord speak to me through my quote-unquote rest or whatever the case is. And so ultimately, one of the main things that was on my mind this morning is this idea of feeling like, you know how you go through life and you have this vision for your life. You're like, God showed you all these things or whatever, and then you could be walking into things like I share with you guys a lot these days, that I feel like I'm finally walking in my purpose and using my gifts and talents, and I feel like I have the desires of my heart. But then sometimes some things about your dream or about your vision or about even the thing that God gives you, you could be walking in it, but then something might be slightly off about it or different than you thought it would be. Things of that nature. Like, has anyone else ever been in that place? I could definitely list off of a few things that is like a little bit different than I thought life would be. I do have a lot of things, and I feel like there's a lot of things that are exactly how I imagined and how I guess God revealed that things would be, but then other things aren't. And so and that can make you question sometimes. Like, I mean, well, what is reality? And like, you know, is there something wrong to where it's not quote unquote perfect? Or, you know, all the different questions that we can ask ourselves and whatnot. These are the things that I was kind of pondering on this morning, this idea of not just imperfection, but like the things that make you doubt, or the things that are different than what you thought they would be. Now, granted, I know I tell you guys all the time, one of the things I've learned to do is to just go with whatever God wants to do. Like, at the end of the day, you know, I'm not necessarily stressed or worried about any of the things. I do feel a shift happening in certain areas, which I guess I'm happy about, because I'd rather have the peace of mind that I have now versus the feeling, you know, beating myself up and feeling down about the things that, again, aren't adding up, or the things that are different than I thought, or whatever, you know. But I mean, hey, I don't know who you are, and you know, listening to the sound of my voice of where you are in your life, if this is even resonating with you at all. But if it is, I hope that the things that the Lord has shared with me this morning will encourage you and inspire you. For the record, man, I am once again recording after 9 a.m. So hey, you know, whoever listens to this in this moment, perhaps it's for you. So keep on, you know, stay tuned. Let's see what the Lord has to share. So when I looked up the definition of sovereign, it said a supreme ruler, especially a monarch. I mean, obviously, if God is the creator of all things, then you know, sovereign. I mean, you know, He is definitely that. And I guess I more so was, I guess, led to focus on, again, like I said, the conversation today is called God's sovereign will. So yeah, I guess I was just led to focus on that, y'all. Like, instead of focusing on those things that are different than you thought, or any of that type of stuff, why don't we focus on, you know, again, God's sovereign will, what He wants to do, how He wants to do it, and learn to be okay with that, and seek the wisdom and whatnot behind those things, because that's another thing as well. Like, one thing I will say, and you know, I've been very open and transparent with you guys, especially in regards to my marriage and things like that, and my desires versus my husband's desires and all this different type of stuff. Now, granted, I have changed my vocabulary, so I haven't really been using certain words regarding it, and actually it's probably been a while since you heard me talking about that in particular. And I mean, you know, things have changed this year, you know, but then at the same time, some things are still the same in that area. But the thing that I noticed that is different is me. You know, sure, I'm still being vocal, you know, sure, I'm still having conversations and, you know, things of that nature. But there has been shifts inside, you know, to where it's not bothering me as much as it used to. Now, sure, again, you know, with this sabbatical or whatever the Lord has me on, with taking this break from the whole masturbation, touching myself, so I'm like, Lord, so I can't have that nor my husband, so what's happening? But on the flip side, I understand that, you know, perhaps there's a bigger purpose and reason behind the things I'm going through, you know? You know, again, the more I abstain, the more I maintain self-control in that area, the more that I can come and tell y'all about it. So honestly, again, things truly happen for a reason. And again, it can be beyond what we even think. You know, I could be just sitting here dwelling about my situation and thinking, oh, well, you know, pointing the finger at my husband, all this different type of stuff. This could be a totally different conversation today if, again, God had renewed my mind in this area. And so I guess, hopefully, as I share the testimony, it will encourage you and inspire you with wherever you are in life and the things that you are going through. Because, you know, I'm not making light of my thoughts or my feelings or anything like that. And, you know, I know it's hard to not, you know, put our own thoughts and feelings and whatnot to the side about the things that we go through in life. But at the same time, again, if we're going to believe that God is the sovereign ruler and that He, you know, is in control of all things, and if we're going to trust Him with every aspect of our life, then, yeah, I mean, these are the things that we need to consider, think about, and live according to. So let's get into some verses, y'all. We got Psalm 115:3. It says, our God is in the heavens. He does all that He pleases. I mean, if we're going to talk about sovereign, God is the sovereignest, the most sovereign. And it says in his word that he's in the heavens and he do what he want to do. Like, yeah, we can pray and ask and X, Y, and Z all day long. And, there might be some things that might, I don't know if it was quote unquote sway him. Or whatever, but I mean, there's plenty of accounts in the Bible where people prayed and it did shift some things or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, God is going to do what He wants to do, how He wants to do it. So that's something that we should just go ahead and acknowledge and start to be okay with. Because again, the whole inspiration behind this conversation is acknowledging that even when you get the vision and the goal or whatever it is, some things may not be according to God's will, or God may be wanting to, help you grow, stretch, mature, whatever. And so, there might be some differences or things that you have to face even when you receive whatever your promise might be. So just thinking about it, just trying to throw that out there, hopefully you guys can let those things marinate on your hearts, souls, and minds. Let's keep going with some verses. We got Proverbs 19:21. It says, many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. I mean, very familiar verse here on the juice. I tell you guys all the time, back in the day when I was struggling and I was like going back and forth and doing this and that and, achieving certain goals, but still feeling unfulfilled or feeling like something was missing. Ultimately, the question that was placed before me was, or the thought or the statement or whatever the case may be, basically was letting me know that the only things that would last would be the things that I did for God. And that ultimately shifted my whole mindset in regards to the things that I do. But hey, some of us struggle to get there, we just want what we want when we want it and things of that nature. But, if we use the wisdom and go ahead and get familiar with this now, then hopefully it will help us in the future when it comes to when we see things shifting and happening in our life. Like, again, this whole year has been an example, but I feel like definitely since 2019, again, since I've been documenting the things that has been happening in my life, like it all is just a reflection of these verses at the end of the day. It's just like, again, earlier this year, I had no clue that the job at the church was going to open up for me. And when it did, I was confused. I was like, well, Lord, I thought you wanted me to, there's another opportunity for me to take over a business, and stuff like that. And I was considering that, and everything like that. So, Lord, which one should I take? And ultimately, I ended up just going forth with the church and whatnot. And I feel like that was the best decision. Every now and then I think back on those two choices and think like, man, I could have been in the midst of, again, that taking over that other business or whatever the case was. But, this seems to be a better fit for me, my, again, my passions, my purpose, and all these different things. So I'm grateful for, what the Lord has done for me. And the thing is, I had to learn to just accept and be okay with God's vision. Like, again, people probably could have told me years ago that, oh, Miracle, you're only going to be working part-time and you're just going to be doing stuff online. And, yeah, that's what you're going to look like. And then, your married life is going to look like this and your motherhood life is going to look like that. Like, and not to say that things are horrible or bad. Like, things are great. Like, honestly, there's only a few things that are looking a little bit different than I, quote-unquote, imagined or whatever. But, I am thankful, right? I am thankful that I'm leaning and depending on the Lord to provide and to make the shifts and do the things, Just trying to throw that out there, y'all. Like, hopefully you guys can catch it and it will encourage you and inspire you on how to start walking in your life. Matter of fact, I was listening to Dana Ray yesterday. She had posted a couple of videos or some that I hadn't seen. So over the past couple of days, I had been listening to her. There's one video I haven't finished yet, but basically, she was talking about how we should be seeking counsel from the Lord about everything. And I do believe I'm trying to do that about most things. Now, I'm not doing it about every single thing. Like, Lord, should I leave the house today? Lord, should I? Hey, I think I do to a certain extent, but we could all be more intentional with that. And I think, perhaps you'll see things going a little bit smoother in your life when you do. Seek the Lord for the wisdom regarding every choice, everything, and yeah, I mean, just throw that out there again. Hopefully, it's something that you guys can again use to encourage and inspire you. Let's see. Got another verse here. It's 1 Corinthians 1:25. It says, "For the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men." I don't know for what reason we think we smarter than God. Like I mean, you hear that all the time in our questioning and in our debates about it and stuff like that. And those that choose not to believe and everything like that, they got all the questions and they feel like they got all the wisdom over the Lord, and I don't understand it. Like you've done no God-like things, but you think you God. Like I mean. It's just very interesting. And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking questions. I say that over and over and over again. Nothing wrong with asking questions. Of course, I've had some of the random things as well. Well, the Lord was like, why this and why that? But I seek the Lord for the wisdom at the end of the day. I mean, if He wants to let me know, then He'll let me know. If He don't let me know, then hey, perhaps He'll let me know in heaven. Even if some things, again, are above our pay grade. Like, again, I may not fully understand when it comes to the different things I'm going through now. But all I know is the more I go through them, the more I'm able to share with you guys the different things. And I don't know how that's going to encourage, inspire, and bless your life, right? For me to share it with you guys that, hey, y'all, I'm still holding on strong. I'm still, maintaining self-control in this area. And, hey, things may not be looking the way I thought they were going to be looking or whatever the case may be. I'm still holding on and I'm still doing, my part, X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't know how that's going to affect the next person, but I'm grateful, right, to be in the place of being able to do that. And I'm grateful in being in the place of being like, okay, well, hey, I held on another day. And I can sit here and tell y'all that today. And if I fall, I'll be open and transparent to say, hey, y'all, I fell short, today, or whatever the case may be. And so, and hopefully that could also be encouraging and inspiring as well, because, we are humans. And at the end of the day, we all have fallen short of the glory of God. So that's just something to think about, you guys. Let me see. I think that's all the verses that I had. Let me see, just to make sure. Okay, yeah, I think that's all the verses per se. Now I do have some things in the Go Deeper section. You guys can, go deeper about all of these things that I'm saying. There's plenty of verses there, but then there's also some articles at gotquestions.org you guys can look at. One of them is what is the difference between God's sovereign will and God's revealed will? And then the other one is, how did the Philistines learn that things do not happen by chance? So you guys can check out those articles, and hopefully they will encourage you and inspire you, especially when it comes to this conversation about God's sovereign will. Again, if you're somebody feeling like, man, I see visions, or I see, the dream, or I see myself walking in things that God has promised, but they're not looking the way that I thought they would, or things are not perfect, or whatever the case may be. I hope this conversation has encouraged you and inspired you to just trust God and His will, because that's ultimately the juice this morning. Now, the Bible verse of today is 2 Corinthians 9:8. It says, and God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye always, having all suffering in all things, may abound to every good work. Friends, I hope that you all are enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration. I pray y'all can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Everyone is stuck at home, but life is still happening around us every day. Birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and celebrations. Send your friends and family the gift of wine from the comforts of home. Wine shop at home with Miracle of Wine. Wine, gift baskets, wine accessories, and more at miracleofwine.com.